everyone. Welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we have now reached the end of another series, for now at least. This is the Season 1 finale for Jujutsu Kaisen, The Spider's Curse. What if Miles Morales was Sukuna's vessel? Season 1, Part 10. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and you like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Well, another series down among many more in the Phase 2 of Anime Marvel. As always, I like to take these times to say thank you to everyone who has shown this series support, who's been following along from the very beginning, and those who may join soon after and along the way. I always appreciate everyone who watches and everyone who is always a part of the series. As always, you make the channel grow, you make the core grow. But this isn't where our story is going to end necessarily. Stay tuned for the end of the video, as there will be 2 side projects that will be coming out before this portion of the series draws to a close. But now, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. While Yuji and Nobara dealt with the 2 special grade cursed spirits in Iso and Chizuzu, both Megami and Miles had another battle brewing on their hands. It came in the form of the cursed spirit of Yosuhashu Bridge, the one of whom they had come to exorcise in the first place. It had managed to absorb one of the fingers of Sukuna before its exorcism, and as a result, it had transformed itself into a rather familiar cursed spirit, the Finger Bear, just like the one they had fought back at that detention center just a few months ago. To say that both Miles and Megami were seeing a ghost from their past would definitely be an understatement. The 2 instantly thought back to that day, the day where Miles thought that his life had become forfeit, and for Megami and even for Yuji, it was the day that they thought they had lost a friend. This one now was even stronger than the one they had faced before it. However, the 2 knew that there wasn't any help that was coming. You see, more often than not, a Jujutsu sorcerer finds themselves in a situation where the odds are often stacked against them. One minute you go from fighting just a regular old curse, one that you think you can handle, and then, like the winds, it just changes suddenly without warning. You're in the calm, and the next thing you know, you find yourself battling against a raging storm. And sometimes, the storm wins. However, both Megami and Miles would work together, their moves being in sync. For Miles, he had spent 6 months having the power of the cursed spider, and he was acclimated to it. While Megami had only had it for a month, he was learning on the fly, the 2 of them being able to use their spider sense to detect when the cursed spirit was approaching. However, there was a lag between the 2 of them. While Miles was holding his own, surprisingly enough, it was Megami who was stumbling. Megami kept trying to cover Miles' blind spots, while Miles was going in for the heavy strikes and going in for devastating attacks. It was Fushiguro who was delegating from the background, almost acting like a side character of sorts. And this only earned him a harsh punch to the face, his skull cracking against the concrete wall behind him, as they now found themselves stuck within a domain with the Finger Bear. Seeing this, Miles would up his cursed energy as he would continue battling against the Finger Bear. As Megami would look up, he would think back to a conversation that he had with Gojo. It was back when they were training. Gojo had reminded Megami that he had been holding himself back. It was something he had always noticed about his young student from the time that he took him in. Megami was selfless to a fault. From being a Jujutsu sorcerer to doing the mundane of things or tasks, he was always looking out for the best interest of everyone else. Of course, these are traits to be admired, and no one should look down on oneself for having such traits. However, as Gojo would point out, bringing up the baseball game that the two schools had played not too long after that moment, he noted how while Megami played the game safe and as a result was often the first one out, those like Miles and like Yuji, they were the ones that were always aiming for the big goal, the big shot, the home run, if you will. And for Gojo, it's exactly what he would have done. It's not just when it comes to playing a game, Gojo had said to Megami. It's also the power that you have within you. You are now the bearer of the cursed spider. I know. I'm not really living up to his legacy, am I? Peter made a legacy all of his own with that thing. Despite not really knowing much about cursed energy, cursed spirits, or anything like that. When he first arrived, he was a complete loser. However, he wasn't afraid to aim big. He wasn't afraid to risk it all. That's what made him the type of sorcerer that he was. Someone that I hold in high respect and regards. Miles, if I'm being entirely honest, when he first started off, he was scared out of his mind. But even still, he learned to let go of that fear. For you, it's not fear that's holding you back. It's your selfless nature. I know that you often like to think that fighting as a collective is good, and while that is important, you have to remember, on the battlefield, when you die alone, my friend. For you to reach your full potential, you have to stop holding back. You have to remember that even if everyone's covering each other's asses, it doesn't change the fact that death is indiscriminate. It can come after anyone and at any moment. Yes, my friend Peter, he died. But even when he died, he managed to take down 6 special grades with him, all while keeping them from getting their hands on Sukuna's finger. I have to say, with your mindset, the way you are now, I don't think you'd even be capable of beating 1 special grade. But that's only because you hold yourself back. You need to learn to be more selfish. Be greedy, Fushiguro. And if you are, then I don't just think you can surpass him and Miles. I know you can. As Fushiguro came back to his senses, as Miles was continuing to fight against the special grade, the Finger Bear, a wicked smile appeared under his mask. Oh, what the hell? Why not? Fushiguro, you alright? Miles would ask, yelling from a distance as he avoided another strike. I'm more than good. Miles, follow my lead. Okay. Miles would back away, creating space from the Finger Bear. Now with the special grade stuck in the middle, Fushiguro would direct Miles, and now Miles would follow his lead. If the two of us work together, I think we could be capable of making a domain expansion. Seriously? But aren't those supposed to be specific to the user? Yeah, but since we've never actually attempted it, I doubt it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be wonky, and it's gonna be a complete mess. But if we create it, it'll guarantee us victory over this monster. Alright, let's do it, Fushiguro. Right. The two would clasp their hands together, drawing in and pouring out as much cursed energy as they could, as the domain would begin to form. From underneath Fushiguro, shadow webs would start to dance and move around them both, while from Miles, crimson webs would start to appear also. The two webs would entangle one another until eventually they found themselves inside of the domain. The domain made entirely out of webbing. Combination art. Domain expansion. Chimera's web. Sacrifice. Inside of the domain were multiple webs, as if they were in a ball of webs. The cursed spirit found itself almost unable to move, like a fly that had been caught in the trap of the web. From above, there would be a large spider, a Shinigami created by Fushiguro, while Miles would continually strike against the cursed spirit, each attack landing 100%, since inside of a domain, each attack is guaranteed to land. The spider would continue to grow, larger and larger and larger, before finally Fushiguro would throw a blade towards Miles. He would tell him to cut the belly of the spider, and Miles would do so. The moment he did, from outside of the belly of the spider being the sacrifice, each and every Shinigami that Fushiguro had in his possession multiplied like hundreds upon hundreds of baby spiders that feed upon the mother at the time of her death would come emerging from the spider's belly, descending and raining down on top of the special grade, devouring and destroying it. With both Fushiguro along with Miles both maintaining the domain, they would exorcise and destroy the special grade cursed spirit, the Finger Bear, releasing the domain under the bridge and erasing the curse. Both boys were extremely tired from this. Even for an incomplete domain, it was very draining and taxing on the body. However, it got results. The two boys were victorious, and they had claimed Sukuna's finger. Of course, Fushiguro wanted to have this sealed away, and he warned Miles not to eat it. Of course, Miles had no plan on doing so, but unfortunately, Sukuna had other ideas. When Miles shot his webs towards the finger, preparing to just wrap it up and put it in his pocket, well, the mouth on his palm had other plans, directing the webbing towards the mouth on the palm and devoured the finger. At which point Sukuna was very cordial and thankful to the two boys for providing him with the proper sustenance, much to Fushiguro's dismay. In the meantime, Yuji and Nobara would continue their fight in the forest, eventually making their way onto an empty road as they battled against the two other special grade curses, the ones of whom had been sent by Geto to retrieve Sukuna's finger, the Cursed Womb Death Paintings, the two brothers, Eso and Kechizu. The two would use their own curse technique, that being in the form of their poison blood decay, striking both Yuji and Nobara. Believing that using their own specially made curse technique, the poison would be fast acting within the two of them, and, as many Jujutsu sorcerers knew, Explaining the ability of your curse technique only amplified its power, and after explaining it, the original timeline that he gave for the two of them to survive, it only shrunk even further. However, much to their dismay, while this technique of cursed blood, decay under any other circumstances would have been extremely harmful, except there was one problem. Yuji would take a deep breath. As he did so, he would channel chi all throughout his entire body. As you're all aware, the energy of chi is like the opposite of cursed energy. It's like the yin and the yang. When both cancel each other out, you arrive at dead even. And while decay was a powerful technique indeed, it wasn't one that couldn't be overcome by Yuji. As a result, he was effectively able to burn the poison out of his whole body, rendering it entirely useless. And as for Nobara, she would use her straw doll technique resonance on herself, as taking her hammer and nails and using the blood that was now infused with her, linking her to the two brothers, she would use resonance in order to pummel the two into submission, while Yuji would use, in essence, the Golden Flash once more, Nobara the Black Flash, as they would turn the tide in the battle between the two brothers, eventually forcing one into submission. Of course, Iso, the more humanoid of the two, would attempt to try to save his brother, Kichizu. However, as a result, Yuji would use Golden Flash to completely destroy Eso's arm off of his body, while Nobara would use resonance to deal the killing blow to his brother. Of course, for Yuji, he could feel the emotion, the anger resonating from Iso. Even though they were cursed spirits, there was a form of humanity to the both of them. Their brotherly bond, it was as real as any bond between humans. You could almost say that for Yuji, he could feel a tinge of regret. But however, he couldn't allow negative emotions to cloud his judgment. That would only mess up the flow of his chi. Instead, he had to look at the positive. Eso would try to make his escape, hitching himself onto a truck that passed by, attempting to use the driver and the passengers as hostages. However, because of his severed arm, Nobara would use the straw doll technique resonance, attacking at Eso once more, and thus, as he fell off of the truck's back, Yuji would close the distance between the two of them, striking with yet another Golden Flash, and this time ending the life of the cursed spirit. Only, their bodies would not fade away, given their nature and how they had come about. What they were left with were two dead corpses. For Yuji and for Nobara, as they left away from the fight, mostly intact, Yuji would lament that he did feel some form of regret over what he had done. But Nobara would find solace in her comrade, not allowing for Yuji to share in the blame of their deaths alone. But ultimately, the two would come to an understanding. Even if they shared a strong familial bond, it did not change the wanton murder that they sought onto the world. And in the end, as Jujutsu sorcerers, whether they liked it or not, they did what was necessary. At the end of it all, the 4 first years had survived. To say that the last few months had been crazy would be understatement of the year. However, through all of the trials, the ups and the downs, the 4 had managed to survive it. They had come out the other side of what you could say was the first season of many seasons. Seasons of trial, as I would like to call it. Some seasons, just as hours in the world change, from winter, spring, summer, and fall, so too do the seasons of adversity come and go. They change. Some are greater and some are lesser than others. But still, we all have our own struggles in this world. For the life of a Jujutsu sorcerer, this is no different. As you continue on in this path, there will be many more seasons as such. There will be days that try your soul, days that make you question why you do what you do. There are some days you are met with despair and want to give up. Other days where your body is pushed to its absolute limit, to the point where no matter how much you try, your body may simply scream not to move another inch. However, it's during these trials and adversities that Jujutsu sorcerers continue. To be a Jujutsu sorcerer, it's to move beyond, to go beyond, even above the absolutes of pains of distress. It's the ones that can go beyond that threshold. They are the ones who will become the true masters of the world. The ones who bear the hatred and the curses of the world. The ones who endure are the ones who survive. For Miles, for Megami, Yuji, and Nobara, this is not the end of their story, nor the end of their journey, but rather, this is just but one season, with many more that will come, with their own trials and tribulations that follow soon after. On one day in particular, as Yuji and Nobara had stepped out for some individual training, Yuji deciding that he was going to go pay a visit to Danny Rand at his dojo, while Nobara was going to go downtown to Tokyo and going to the Sanctum Sanctorum to go over a few more curse techniques with Dr. Voodoo. Both Miles and Megami were left back at the school. Gojo was going to see if he had anything for the boys to do, when a sudden phenomena would occur. Both Megami and Miles would sense this immediately, as they went racing towards where Gojo was. Of course, Gojo was completely fine, but what had happened was entirely odd. For you see, standing there with Gojo, talking peacefully and amicably, was a man dressed in red and black, the insignia of the spider on his chest. There was also an older man who looked like he was Japanese, perhaps a businessman of sorts. A young kid, looked like he was junior high at most, blonde hair, also looked Japanese in origin, probably a student. A man well dressed in a tailor suit. A young boy that looked like he came from some random isekai anime, among other things. There was a girl who was dressed in what appeared to be a sailor uniform that was black with a red streak in her head. A girl with a similar uniform but white and blue. A girl that appeared to be in an all-white sailor suit with thigh-high boots. A kid that looked like he was punk rock or something. Also, one of the girls with the bowl cut, why was she inside of a giant spider mech? Among many, many other things, all of these individuals turned to the door as both Miles and Megami walked in. Ah, I see. So these are the two you're looking for, huh? Two, Miles would say. Gojo, what's going on? Who the hell are these guys? And how did they get through the barrier? Huh. Well, funny you should say that. Well, you see, what's your name? You can call me Io. I've come for you two specifically. Us? Megami would say. Yeah, what do you want with us? Miles would ask. This is last minute and very urgent, but I'm putting together a team of individuals. All of us. We share in a commonality. The power of the spider. Yeah, I kinda got the vibe. I could feel my spider sense going off. Although, my power, it's supposed to be a part of a cursed energy. Are you all Jujutsu sorcerers? No, we're not. But the link that binds us is more greater than how our powers came to be. And trust and believe, our powers all came from very different circumstances. Anyway, the reason why I'm calling you here is because I need your help. The multiverse. It's potentially on the brink of destruction. If something that big is actually going on, Megami would say, and I'm not saying I believe a single word you're saying, then Gojo, why don't you just go and help them? I'm sure with your abilities and this is a fate of destiny, my friend. I can't get in the way of that. Also, if this truly is dimensional travel, then I can't afford to leave. I mean, I may step out for just a few minutes. The world could absolutely go to hell. I'm a lot of things, but I am very protective of my world. However, you two seem to be connected to all of this, and since I didn't have anything planned for the day, I think you two should definitely go along. Huh? But what happens if we die? Come on now, Miles, don't have that sort of attitude. I believe you two are gonna make it out of this and come back just fine. But on the other hand, if you do die, well, all the fingers you've already swallowed with Sukuna will die with you. So in a way, that's kinda a benefit on our end. Of course, I don't want you to die, and they're gonna survive this, right? I don't want any of them to die, so no, the older individual would say. I want them to survive this. We all do, so we can get back home. See? Everything's gonna be just fine. Now, go save the multiverse, guys. Make us all proud. Gojo smiled, slapping the two boys on the back before pushing them through the portal that closed soon after. In the meantime, Gojo was gonna go pick up some mochi. He especially wanted to try that new stand that had the special sauce flavor. As Megami and Miles now found themselves traveling through the multiverse, Miles, among many of these new individuals he met, found himself bumping into one in particular. A girl with blonde hair swayed to the side. Oh, my bad. His name's Miles. Miles Morales. Nice to meet you. Gwen Stacy. So, I take it you got bit by a radioactive spider too? She asked. Oh, no. What happened was I ate a cursed finger that trapped a demon inside of me, and I have a cursed spider that I inherited. Well, then I passed it on to him, but once I got the powers, it sort of stayed with me. So, now I'm kind of just stuck with these cursed spider powers. What about you? Oh, while I was trying to avenge my father's death, I ended up getting bit by spiders that were eating some alien clothing and gave me the power to make fiber webbing. And I fought against alien clothes that wanted to destroy humanity. Again, Hobie would say, you guys don't think any of this is weird? Well, my powers came from an alien that fell in space. I mean, personally speaking, all of you come from comic books. We what? I mean, I got bit by radioactive spiders, and then I got bit by radioactive pigs. Technically, they tried to eat me. I think I got my powers from a spider god, but honestly, I don't know if that's really what happened, or if I was just suffering shell shock from the war, Lloyd would say. Okay, Megami would say, as he moved towards Miles. I really don't think this is a good idea. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? Inside of Miles Morales. The multiverse. It's actually real? Wait. I think I can work with this. Back in the world of JJK, 3 individuals sat on a rooftop overwatching the city of Tokyo. Is it time for us to make our move? A boy in a cloak that covered his entire body would ask. Yeah, I'm getting a bit impatient. All we've been doing is hunting down cursed spirits, a blonde girl asked as she twirled a dagger of light between her fingers. We don't have the numbers right now. If we're going to take down Sukuna and all of the cursed spirits, then we need to build a true fighting force. From what I've been able to learn, they all come in grade stages. And what about the Jujutsu sorcerers? If they find out what we're up to, I don't want to get into a fight with them unless we have to. We don't have to kill them, but we're not supporting them either. If they get in our way and they try to stop us, then we'll handle them accordingly. For now, we continue the hunt. Junpei would close his fist as he looked on with determination. Only 2 individuals were on his mind. The cursed spirits, Mahito and Ryomen Sukuna. This concludes Jujutsu Kaisen: The Spider's Curse. What if Miles Morales was Sukuna's vessel? Season 1, Part 10, the Season 1 finale. Thank you all for being a part of this channel, for following along with this series, and stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Rosario Vampire Scarlet Knight. What if Sukuna was Spider-Man Season 1 Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.